Hello, this is Chad Wallace with Supply Chain Yokoten. Today's video presentation is going to be on sourcing and procurement. Before we get into the area of sourcing, I want to just talk about the Kretsu strategy first. This is the formulation of Kretsu always allows a manufacturer to establish stable long-term partnerships, which in turn helps them to stay lean and focused on core business requirements. The Kretsu are often established to share best practices and improve risk management by lowering unknown values. The reason I want to go over this is to discuss as far as the way Toyota does their supplier relationship management, as far as their suppliers are an extension of the company themselves. For example, TG Automotive, Nippon Denzu, Toyota Tetsu, they are all not only extension of Toyota, but there's some ownership and they trade knowledge back and forth between each other. And also there could be financial ownership in the Kretsu strategy. And something that also Toyota talks about early on as far as to have two qualified suppliers for each product. Demand can be moved from the supplier with the best quality, cost, and delivery. For example, if you have one supplier that is performing better than the other, you can move the demand to the suppliers performing better to give them more sales, and the one that hasn't performed as well, move some of the demand away from them. So I want to talk about supply chain management and goals of sourcing. You want to source a good or service that's at a competitive price, meet the required specification, quality. You want the right material or service at the right time, on-time delivery, the ability to meet existing and future demand, and lead time that allows your business to meet your customers' dynamic demand. Favorable logistics and country of origin. And this is becoming more and more a factor with tariffs in China, for example. The criteria for supplier selection, of course, product price. In the past, I've always heard people say that you move to a supplier for price, but you move away from supplier for quality and delivery. Quality of material, reliability, after sales service, supplier location, inventory availability. Of course, you want, if possible, your supplier to keep inventory on site to reduce your inventory dollars you have on hand. The financial stability of the supplier, very key factor. The technical capability of the supplier, and the product range. Is there something else that you could possibly get in the future from them so you make good strategic alliance for you? I just want to go over some learning tips I've learned myself in the future. Always keep an open mind to learn. And something someone told me very on that I thought didn't sound correct, but it really helped me in my career, is meet with salespeople even if you have little interest in what they were offering. And you may learn something. And there's been times that I've met with salespeople and I wasn't interested in the product they were selling. For example, one time there was a salesperson for hydraulic fluid, and we already had a good supplier. I didn't want to go away from that supplier. But in talking to the supplier, I learned of a company that actually recycles the old fluid and actually pays you for it. And we were actually paying a company to recycle it for us. And so, for example, I learned something and learned of a company that could help us, and we actually financial benefit, even though I didn't want to use that supplier. So you can always learn something. That's a good example. The go to the source, Genshu Gemba or the Gemba, as far as doing a supplier audit, going to the supplier itself, go and see. And I'm going to have a different slide on supplier audits because that's pretty detailed also. And here again is my contact information. Please send me an email, or if you need on what topics to cover in the future, or if you need consulting work. Thank you again, and make sure you guys hit subscribe.